Welcome to Out and About. It's the 25th of May 2023 and I'm at the Steam Workshop. There is always plenty to see here and this visit was no exception. This engine that is on screen at the moment is a mechanical work of art. It's really come on since my last visit. The work's been done by a man called Ian and he's setting the standard for patience. This was a very difficult job. I've seen it at various stages of repair and the amount of detail inside this 4-cylinder locomotive really is scary. If you look at Ian's face, I think I can detect just a hint of insanity creeping in. I mean, just look at it. This is the boiler backhead, and it's incredibly complicated. It's just like the full-size engine, only smaller. And now it's very well put together, and this wasn't always the case. From one steam locomotive to another one, this is a shot of the steam engine in a full-size yet small steam car. It's a twin-cylinder vertical engine and it powers this thing which is called a lathe, or at least it would if the boiler wasn't broken. I've put the two alternative spellings on screen. If you Google either of these spellings, you will find quite a lot of information all about these particular type of steam cars. On a high shelf, way above the lathe, is a small steam locomotive, looking very much worse for wear. And moving further down the shelving unit, it's most unusual to see not one, but two Stirling single engines. Everywhere you look in the steam workshop is some kind of steam locomotive. Some small, or like this one, with my hand in the image for scale, quite large. In fact, one of the projects at the steam workshop is a full-size locomotive. It's a narrow gauge locomotive, but it's still extremely heavy duty. To make parts for all these locomotives, you need a lot of good equipment, and here's an example of a lot of good equipment. As I move through this area of the steam workshop, there are various very interesting machines to see. Here, for instance, is a milling machine and a tool grinder. And this bandsaw makes mine look stupid. It's extremely big. And here it's been used to cut some steel to make a set of footrests. You don't cut all the way through, you just cut a V out of the steel and then bend the piece into the right position, followed by welding it together. This is a refurbished Smart & Brown toolroom lathe. It's actually a smaller model than the one I have, which is a 1024. If I was a better engineer, I would buy one of these. It's a hard-hinge lathe. These are just one cut above the rest as far as I can see. Even the design of the quick change tool post is extraordinary. John's using this lathe at the moment to make some cones for the range of injectors that he produces. They really are very good. I know that because I bought one. Here's an example of John's work, and the attention to detail and skill required to make this is impressive. As is this, it's a Bridgeport milling machine. I would really like one of these, but I like to keep my videos realistic and use machinery that you would find in a home workshop. On the bench at the side of the Bridgeport milling machine is a dead locomotive. It's upside down. And here's another one not looking too healthy at the moment. On the floor is a Kingscale or Silvercrest locomotive. I don't know what's wrong with this, it's just sat on the floor. Here's a 5-inch gauge Great Western Railway 14XX locomotive. I had one very much like this that I produced a series all about. I modified mine considerably and have recently sold the engine. There are so many different engines at the steam workshop, I don't know what most of them are. To be fair though, I was never much of a train spotter. From the very small to the considerably larger, these are a pair of wheels off the narrow gauge engine that the steam workshop are currently working on, and I use the term work lightly. There is a YouTube series about this engine, and when I watch it, it makes me feel quite ill. The workload is immense. A few years ago, I used to go in one day a week to the steam workshop, and at the time, John was working on this really old engine. It's called Little Bear, and the date of manufacture is on the side of the tank. John did an awful lot of work on this engine, new cylinders, valve chests, the list goes on, and it also needed a new boiler fitting. And now for something completely different. One of the people at the steam workshop is called Mark Ryan. The quality of his work is outstanding. Look at this that he built. It's a design of locomotive called a scamp, and normally when people drive these, they sit on them side saddle. But Mark's redesigned this so that you can drive it facing forward. As you can see, this is not a steam engine, it's powered by a petrol engine. As Mark lifted off the cover, you got just enough time to take it all in. It looks a little bit like the time machine from the film The Time Machine. This is a Scamp 57 locomotive built by the very talented Mark Ryan. If you type Scamp 57 Mark Ryan into Google, you will get the links to the YouTube video series all about building this. Mark's got a really good eye for detail. This is very visible in the work that he does. Look at the colour scheme, for instance. It's a perfect complement to the padded vintage leather seat. I can say no more other than I really like this. And on that note, it's time for me to go. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my main Steam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.